Hey guys, welcome back. So now getting back into Joker War, I feel like it's really at this point where we begin to find out who the Joker is really after. And I mean, we already know that it's Bruce, but I feel like it's also at this point that we get a clearer picture of what the Joker's endgame truly is. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch us spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so at this point, we know by way of Harley Quinn that Punchline is now in the process of amping up the distribution of her new form of the Joker toxin, which at this point Bruce now calls the Punchline toxin. And at this point, with the Joker having all of Bruce's money and also using a portion to buy Ace chemicals, it's like from there we know the next step is just to get the supplies. So from here, when we pick up with Punchline, who's meeting up with the underbroker, he lets Punchline know like they've outbid all the supply ships that were inbound nearby, and the ones that they didn't outbid, they just bought outright. Which is a big money flex, like terrible business, but big money flex. And it kind of makes you think like had any other villain taken Bruce Wayne's massive fortune, then hired the underbroker to manage their finances, like he would have been fired on day one. But in this case, it's the Joker, and managing the money wisely isn't exactly what he's trying to do, but instead produce this Punchline toxin at a high volume as quickly as possible. But not long after, we also find out that a number of the Joker's clowns, they're not making it on the way to Ace Chemicals, which really ticks Punchline off because one, her new toxin is a big part of the Joker's new plan, but also she wants to know who's doing this because these clowns are ending up dead, which lets her know immediately that this wasn't Batman. But it's when this clown gives her the spill of what's been going on the Narrows, which is like your quickest route from the Tri-Corner docks to Ace Chemicals. It's here where we see that clown hunter, he's been taking down the Joker's clowns before they can make their drop. And it's funny because he takes one of the Joker mobiles and he says he has anti-Joker toxin, which he's gonna pour through like a hole in the windshield, but really it's actually gasoline. And gasoline is anti-everything if you got enough of it. But essentially from here, Punchline tells them to go around the Narrows in order to get the products to Ace Chemicals, because once again, not only is her product important to the Joker's plan, but also with what we've seen the Joker do with the designer's tech and moving that to a number of theaters, in addition to what we've seen him do at the Monarch, you can imagine that Ace Chemicals is a huge part of that as well. And it's from here jumping over to the Monarch to where Bruce's situation is heavy any way you look at it. Because on the surface, if you only think of it as like Batman fighting a bunch of zombies, then you probably think of it like, okay, this is Batman, he's cool, like he's got this. But really with the way that the Joker has got him pinned here is pretty brilliant, because not only is he doing this in the theater from the night when Bruce had last seen his parents, but also with this being the reanimated victims who had died at the hand of the Joker, like because he has to fight off so many of these guys, it's really showing him that number of how many lives were lost because he let the Joker live. But also with him doing this and still having the Punchline toxin in his system, it's really throwing him off because certain things he's seeing, he's not sure if it's part of the illusion or if it's happening in addition to the zombie attack. And I mean really with him having Alfred in his ear, like that part he knows isn't real. But with the Joker playing on the projection and saying things like, Bruce, which one of these victims do you think is angrier? The ones from the earlier years when Bruce had underestimated the Joker, or the ones from the latter years when Bruce had just graciously let the Joker live and continue killing people? Which really shows us like the things that the Joker is saying right now, they're getting to Bruce on some level. Because when these zombies then turn into multiple Jokers, it's almost like each one is an opportunity that Bruce had missed to save a life. But so now to shut out the Joker from saying things that add into this illusion, he just blows up the projector. And because the Punchline toxin is still in his system and he can't trust what he sees, he then blindfolds himself to fight his way out. And when you think of it really, like what good would the name Batman be if he hadn't mastered his arts in the dark? But what I also like here is that imaginary Radio Alfred. He keeps it real with Bruce, and he lets him know like even still there's too many and this solution isn't gonna work. But with Bruce knowing the designer's tech, at its most basic form is nanobot technology, so with knowing this he uses an EMP to shut them down so he can get out. But even with this, like your imaginary Radio Alfred, he lets Bruce know like if he uses that EMP that they will then lose their connection, which I also feel like is pretty brilliant, because if Bruce knows that his comms are down, then that'll also work for his subconscious to not believe that Alfred is actually reaching out to him, which literally solves both problems at the same time. But after this, leaving the theater, he then sees the younger version of himself with his parents walking off of the main street into Crime Alley. And I kind of feel like on the way out, Bruce should have seen this coming. And to counter it, he should have just covered his ears and be like, la 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 la, like running the other way. But then again, Batman's too cool for that. But it might have worked. Or it just could have had him looking stupid before Harley Quinn came up and found him. But nonetheless, with Harley finding him here, she then finds herself saving him again, which so far throughout Joker War, this has kind of become a routine, and she lets him know that. But from here, jumping over to Punchline, she's made her way over to the Joker, who is living like a boss. And he even admits to the lavish life growing on him, of which he compares to kind of like a fungus, but he does admit enjoying living ballerific like it's all terrific. And really initially, it's us seeing the Joker enjoying the fruits of his plan playing out as intended thus far. But in the case of Punchline, she points out the parts that aren't working, at least from her perspective, because she wants the Joker to do something about it. And really in her case, we know that she sees this celebration as a sign of weakness or flaw in the Joker, but then she quickly finds out that this is anything but that. Because when she tells him we still have the issue of Batman being out there on the loose, it's then when he reminds her that the Joker is waiting for Batman to sober up and then make another move. And after that, when she tells the Joker about Clown Hunter, he tells her that this is wonderful because not only is Clown Hunter a vigilante who kills, but also now he's a new heroic symbol who the Joker can just crucify in front of anyone who's holding on to hope. And for Punchline, hearing this, it's like music to her ears, but she really lights up when the Joker tells her that after that, that's when they go for Harley Quinn. Which for Punchline, like this is just like music to her ears, because prior to this point, that has been the reason why Punchline has just hated Harley Quinn. Because for one, prior to this point, she feels like Harley Quinn has deluded the Joker with trying to fix him and not allowing him to be the truest form of himself, which for Punchline, her intentions around the Joker are quite the opposite, because she wants the Joker to be the purest form of himself. And from the time she's told that to Harley Quinn, her actions have only proven that to be true. And at this point, with her getting a clearer picture of the Joker's intentions with Batman, Clown Hunter, and Harley Quinn, it just reassures her that the Joker is moving further away from this diluted version of himself that she had believed him to be prior to this point. But after this, we then come to find that Harley has taken Batman to Eden, which is a place that Poison Ivy had built for Harley at a time when she was getting over the Joker, which also doubled as a rehab center when he had poisoned her as well. So because of that, she kind of figured why not bring Batman here so he can recover and also take a special detox in order for him to sober up and get the Punchline toxin out of his system. And when he takes his first sip, it just reminds me of that meme of like when the wellness shot hits like a real shot, because when he takes it, the trip is almost instantaneous. But it's funny that after he takes it, Harley then lets him know like, oh yeah, it's gonna get way worse before it gets better. But when it does, he also sees Harley contort with the neck snap, which much like Bruce's last dream of Alfred, had also made the reference to Alfred's death. But when Bruce is doing this, like the actual Harley lets him know like, you're gonna be out for a while, I'm gonna let this antidote take its course, and she just leaves him there to completely trip out by himself, which from there kind of lets us know that he's going into another like crazy journey into his illusions, which in this case lead him to a serious talk with Alfred. And this is really where we're left off until the next issue. But even at this point with seeing this, like it's pretty hard to go unnoticed that there's a pattern with these different visions that Bruce is having. And all in all, at their core, each one is dealing with Bruce internalizing and really sorting out some deep issues that he has himself, which for the most part prior to this point, it's been his job as Batman just to suppress these thoughts so that he can focus on being Batman. But from the point of him tripping hard from the Punchline toxin all the way to here with the Poison Ivy antidote, it's almost like he's being forced to confront these issues, which as fans and readers we know have been there, but for so many years he just went on operating like it's okay, but you know, we know he's not okay. But with these patterns, the obvious struggle is him dealing with the loss of his parents, which is really something I don't think anyone gets over ever. And in that case, it's really just finding the solution of how you continue life without them, which for Bruce, his solution was becoming Batman. But also with that, when Bruce came to that conclusion and he became Batman, he then took on another parental figure at that time, which was Alfred. And now that he's lost Alfred, once again Bruce has to now figure out who he'll become and what does life look like after Alfred. And in the case of Bruce, whoever that turns out to be, or whatever new Batman that turns out to be, that's who the Joker really wants to go up against. And the Joker is really waiting for Bruce to figure this out, and no sooner than that will the Joker bring his full-on attack. So now real quick before we go, I want to give a special shout out to all the Patreons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so you can head to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And I'll just say, like, just speaking for me, like for one, I'm excited to see like where this takes like the new level for like the next Batman, or this new version of Batman that Bruce has to grow into. And on top of that, I also like the Punchline versus Harley Quinn aspects that are building up. But as far as Clown Hunter, like he just hasn't grown on me yet. And I'm not writing him off just yet, but I think it'll just take some time. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again in the next one. Alright, later.